What's going on, y'all? What's going on? What's going on? Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. So, for y'all that is new to this, ain't true to it yet, but you new to it, my name is Kelly, and I am, you know, the founder and executive director of Transform 314, and that's why we're here tonight. So I can give you the rundown, the lowdown, whatever you want to call it, when we're talking about all the things that's popping and going on in the city and the county governments. So your girl is rolling solo dolo tonight. I think I'll be good. Um, but yeah, we're gonna get into it. So again, happy Monday, y'all. Y'all already know what this is with our Monday night live. Let me share my screen here so we can get it going. Share screen. All right, y'all. We are getting this popping. So, like I said, your girl, I'm rolling solo dolo tonight. But we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. So, like I said, we talk about the city and the county governments and what happened last week. So, we're gonna get into the city first. So, real quick for folks that ain't aware, last Thursday was the Board of Aldermen's their last full meeting until September 15th, I think. So they have, yes, y'all, summertime. They are going on a summertime break, y'all, for 2 months. But before they officially broke, before their summertime break, they did have their last meeting where they passed not one, but two bills regarding public safety in the city of St. Louis. And y'all, like, I didn't talk about these bills I don't know how many times, hella times. So y'all can feel free to kind of review some of our previous clips from weeks back where we had more discussion and showed clips on what these two bills are. But I will mention the bills by name because you can use Google as your friend to look up the information on the bills if you're not as familiar as what other folks may be. So the first bill that was passed last week, last Thursday, was Board Bill 29, which was sponsored by Alderwoman Spencer. And this bill makes it unlawful for folks to openly carry a weapon without a carry conceal permit. Something I want to note about this bill is that everybody in the Board of Aldermen, including the president of the Board of Aldermen, added their names to be a co-sponsor on this bill. Now that makes a hell of a statement. It shows, again, the Board of Aldermen and the president of the Board of Aldermen are in huge support of this bill. So that was passed. The other bill that was passed was Board Bill 82, also known as the Right to Know Act, and this bill is sponsored by Alderman Aldridge, and it requires police officers to identify themselves with a business card when requesting a person to be searched. And the bill also lays out that a person has the right to refuse to get searched. So they have a right to consent to being searched. So this bill didn't get the 100% sign off from all of the alder people, but it did get enough votes to pass. So like I said, y'all, our Board of Aldermen, they're going to be on break for 2 months. So I can't really talk about anything regarding the city of St. Louis and the Board of Aldermen. So I implore, meaning strongly suggest and urge my city fam out there. Obviously, your alder people, they'll be on their break. However, they'll be around. So I really, really suggest that, folks, if you haven't already done so, please reach out to your alder person. Try to set up some time just to connect with them, just to see what they're on. Because once they get back in the session, I have a feeling it's going to be real busy. So that was the city highlights. Now we are going to get into St. Louis County stuff. So we talked about this, I want to say maybe last week. hell, maybe even the week before. But like the St. Louis County Council, they've been really discussing this bill, which is Board Bill 114, that if passed, it would implement a property tax freeze for seniors. Now, I want to rewind this again because we talked about this, I believe, last week, because our Governor Parsons, he signed Senate Bill 190, I believe it is, into law. So that's the state level. And that bill, it literally says that, again, seniors that are eligible for Social Security, I think it is, or whatever, and they own property, again, their property taxes would freeze, meaning they wouldn't have to pay, more than a certain amount each year. And that municipalities will have to opt into this program. And that's it. So municipalities, they don't have the authority to tweak this. Either they subscribe into this program or not. And so that's what the St. Louis County Council, this is what they have been discussing for the past like 2-ish weeks, about if they are willing, if they want to sign up for this program or not. So the week before last, there was a committee of the whole meeting. And last week, there was a committee of the whole meeting part 2 to have more stakeholders, I guess more of a variety of stakeholders to speak about the bill and to speak to their thoughts on how this bill would impact St. Louis County, because y'all know St. Louis County broke. And so, this may impact St. Louis County's budget. So again, this meeting had quite a few stakeholders, and I do have, I think it's 3 clips that I'm going to play for y'all as far as how people were checking. What's up, Shonda? Oh yeah. I want to get your thoughts on this, Shonda. So the first clip I'm going to play, again, from this committee of the whole meeting last week, is Scott Lakin, who serves as the director of the Department of Revenue. Now, this dude, he had the time. He, peeped the footage from the week before last committee of the whole with, groups in support of this bill. And he wanted to put on record how he felt about what they were saying during that committee of the whole meeting. So listen to his thoughts.
I think that some of the testimony last week was kind of off the mark because they were trying to say things like, well, this is revenue neutral, or this is a drop in the bucket to the county's budget. This is a rounding error for the county. Those were some of the things that were thrown around. But I guarantee you, it's not a rounding error, for the school district. It's not a rounding error, for, the teacher that might be having to pay the cost of school supplies for her class because her budget was short that year. It's not a rounding error or some kind of drop in the bucket to the fire and police protection groups that are trying to reduce response times and things like that, buy equipment. It's serious stuff, but it's not the government or it's not the county budget that's really affected. It's that 98.5% of the money we distribute to mostly the schools and the special school districts. Those remedial reading programs that they might be able to add one extra program or they might be able to hire one less or one more kindergarten teacher, things like that. That's why I call them hidden cuts, because they don't realize their budget's been cut until it comes out from the school district because they had less money to work with.
So yes, so the director of the Department of Revenue, Mr. Lakin, he is speaking to, again, these hidden cuts that weren't mentioned, I guess, during the previous committee of the whole meeting. And he went in for a good like 30 minutes, y'all. I'm not gonna play the full clip, but you can check it out on Boxcast. But he is not checking for this bill. In addition to those hidden cuts that would have negative impacts on our school districts, he also mentioned how his department would have limited flexibility on how to roll out this program, because again, this is state law, right? He also mentioned that there may be more costs through his department to have to roll this program out. So increased costs because, they may have to mail stuff out to let people know this program even exists. And in order to do that, you need people, you need staff to do that. And they're going to have to devote time to do that. So that's coins, that's money. So that's an increase in customer service support. And he also expressed issues around what seniors are eligible. And because he was saying that the bill, it was not clear in like who's eligible for these for that tax freeze. Who isn't. So next on the hit parade, speaking about how this will impact St. Louis County, was Paul Kreitler, who is the budget director for St. Louis County. So let's listen to what he had to say as far as, his 2 cents and how this will impact, if passed, how this bill will impact St. Louis County's budget.
The difficulty for us on the impact to the county budget from this legislation is that it's unknown exactly how this legislation will be implemented. As has been mentioned, the definition of eligible is cloudy. How the tax credit will be calculated is a prospective or respective. One read says that the credit is equal to the taxpayer's liability in the given year minus the year they became eligible. So does that go back 10, 15 years when they became eligible for Social Security? So from the standpoint of looking at the county's budget, we know we will have costs to implement to determine and verify eligibility, perhaps some computer programming charges. However, on the revenue side, it's impossible to determine with the information provided in Senate Bill 190 at this time.
So y'all heard it from the budget man. He said it's a lot of uncertainty. It's a lot of uncertainty because there just seem to be more questions than answers as far as he's concerned, and can't really make an estimate on how this would have passed and rolled out, how this would impact St. Louis County's bottom line. And the last clip I have from last week's committee of the whole meeting is actually the chair of the Older Adult Commission for St. Louis County, Mrs. Carol Rodriguez. So she provided her 2 cents as far as the Older Adults Commission. Again, they are looking to support the cause of our elders, of our seasoned folks in St. Louis County. So listen to what she had to say as far as how the commission, how they feel about the bill.
The commission supports the senior property tax freeze bill if means testing provisions are included that will target this benefit to those older adults in need.
Okay. So we can agree, right? There's no means testing in Bill 190, right?
Exactly.
And in fact, there's no means criteria whatsoever, correct?
Exactly.
Right. To use my phrase from last week, one size fits all.
Correct.
Okay. In fact, there's not even an application requirement that would result in an individual applying for the exemption or the credit, right?
Correct.
And for those reasons, the commission opposes the initiative as written and adopted in Bill 190, right? Now part of revised statutes of Missouri, Section 137.
If there cannot be some form of means testing, yes.
Okay.
And my understanding is that is difficult. I will state it's very difficult for us. I mean, we are the Older Adults Commission, and we very, very much want to represent the interests of the older adults of St. Louis County. We want this to be a community people want to live in and retire in and age in successfully.
Again, y'all heard it from the chair representing the Older Adult Commission, and they said that they could not support this bill in its current form because it is not specific enough in targeting more lower income seniors to really help them. Because and there was more of a conversation between her and Councilman Trachis, who you heard asking those questions, and some of the other council members, but they weren't checking for it as it currently is written, because she said it's too broad, and that there needs to be more requirements as far as who can participate in that property tax freeze with seniors. So fast forward to, and Shawna, we're gonna get to that, girl. We're gonna get to that. Fast forward to the full county council meeting. But I will say though, during the committee of the whole meeting, those weren't the only people that provided public comment. I mean, there was the superintendent of the Valley Park School District, who I guess he said that he was representing over 20 of the district superintendents in St. Louis County. Obviously, they weren't checking for the bill. The Mid-County Fire Department, which consists of, which provides, again, fire, support for, we got Pagedale, Wellston, Veneta Park, Hanley Hills, Greendale, and parts of unincorporated St. Louis County. They weren't checking for it either, because again, those are the two biggest districts. So schools and your fire protection districts. When we're talking about property taxes and where they go to support, those will be the hardest hit and most adversely impacted. Then you have the Civil Heritage Legislature. They came back. They were there weeks before. They were in favor of the bill. So there was a lot more discussion during the committee of the whole. Fast forward to the full county council meeting later that evening. Councilman Harder, who's the sponsor of the bill, he's like, yo, I'm ready to vote this up or down. Like, I don't know what y'all are on. Let's get this final vote done. So I want to play a couple of clips from the council members that had opposing views on the bill. So the first viewpoint I'm going to play, this is a clip from Councilman Hancock. So listen to what he had to say about this bill.
And I think that, we have an obligation to at least require those people who say they're going to be significantly impacted, and this is going to create hardships and burdens for them, to show us some numbers, to project out into the future. What's it going to look like? I spent time this weekend doing that. I would have hoped that the people who are going to come here and speak in opposition to this would have done the same homework. When I asked the superintendent of schools in Valley Park this afternoon if they were running a deficit or if they're running a surplus, what was his answer? They're running a $30 million surplus. Do we really think that the few seniors in the Valley Park School District who would benefit from this are going to cause a tremendous or a significant ramification to the budget of the Valley Park School District? No, because over time, their tax revenues are going to continue to go up from other sources. People who pay property taxes who aren't seniors, people who pay personal property taxes, people who pay other special assessments that go to the school districts. So to me, that's a false flag, if you will. As far as making up some of those tax revenues, I would hope that Dr. Page's trip to England is successful and that we see economic development activity come out of that. That helps to generate more tax revenue for St. Louis County. I think one thing that we can all agree on is this bill isn't perfect. It's by no means perfect. It's not even close. So we can do one of two things. We can vote against this bill and do nothing to help anybody, or we can vote for it, help those who need help now, and then work through our friends in the legislature to improve it in the future.
I know he pulled County Executive Page into it. I know, going to London. Dang, okay, but that's interesting because again, he said they have one or two options, right? They had, yes, Shonda, I completely agree with you on that because we know there is a difference. Okay. Yeah. $30 million surplus. Yeah. That's not reflective of all of the school districts in St. Louis County. I absolutely agree with you on that. But he said they have one or two options, right? Either they don't do anything, right? Or they they do something now and also work with the elected officials, right, in Jefferson City to clean up the bill, and also in the meantime they can help people. So again, I told y'all I had 2 clips of the council members with opposing views, so y'all heard that viewpoint. I want to play the another viewpoint, and this is Councilwoman Retta Days. So listen to her response.
I am not immune to anything that the rest of the senior citizens have to go through on a daily basis. I also was a member of the Missouri legislature for 15 years. And I will tell you that I would not bank on that body making the necessary changes that it needs to make to affect what needs to happen in St. Louis County. This is an election year. They sent this bill down here to kick the can off of them to send it to us. That's what happened. That's exactly what happened. Been there, done that, and I know how this works. So until the legislature can get its act together, until it can send us something that we can reasonably impact our senior citizens on, I can't do that. I know that when they get there in, and they're not going to have a special session, that's already been determined. And I know that when they get there in January, their concern is not going to be anymore on senior citizens. Because as far as they're concerned, they've done everything that they need to do. And they have put the responsibility on counties. I attended the MAC Zoom meeting this afternoon, and there were more questions than answers at that body. There were questions about, of course, the eligibility. There was questions about one size fits all. There were more questions than answers. And until we get some definitive answers, I can't do that. So I implore all of you to think about that, where you're putting the responsibilities of what this body can do in the hands of 163 members in the House and 34 members in the Senate.
Well, all right, Councilwoman Days. I mean, and she mentioned that she served in the state legislature, so she would know what we dealing with. But yeah, she said she's been there and she's done that, and she doesn't have the confidence that the folks in Jefferson City, because again, to her point, all these unanswered questions, more unanswered questions than answers. And, if they was really about that, they would have produced legislation that didn't have all of those unanswered questions and putting it all on the municipalities. So I don't know. So what was the final verdict? Because they put it to a final vote, and the bill, it did not pass. So, and it, the votes fell along party lines. So, the ladies, which all happen to be Democrats, they prevailed. So it was 4-3. Like I said, along party lines, with the Democrats voting against, the Republicans voting in favor. But again, Shonda, you mentioned that in the chat. Shout out to you for engaging with us this evening. Now, I have a feeling this ain't going to be the last time we hear this bill, because even though St. Louis County Council didn't pass it, there is still the opportunity for this mug to roll out in St. Louis County if it is placed on the ballot. And I think they said a simple majority of folks have to approve it in order for it to pass and to be implemented in St. Louis County. So, and we know who comes out to vote most of the time in our elections. That's right. You guessed it. The folks that would probably be eligible for this property tax free. So hell yeah, they gonna come out and vote for that. Who wouldn't, right? And they already come out to vote anyway in droves. So y'all, this is not the last that you're going to hear of this bill. And then also there are other municipalities. I don't know if they'll be taking this up to consider to start implementing and rolling out in their jurisdictions. So to be continued, to be continued, to be continued. And so that's all, y'all. That is it. It was a short but sweet Monday Night Live tonight. Before we shake, I did want to lift up an upcoming event. Me, the homies Vanna and Alan, we will be doing our thing for our Kicking It for a Cause, what we do once a month on Thursday at 6 in the Loop, which is in the U City Loop. It is a Black-owned spot. It's cute. It's intimate. Please roll through. Our topic of discussion, we will be talking about mental health. So definitely, please come out if you can. It's free 99. We're going to be feeding people. And also, we are supporting a Black-owned business. So please come out, hang out with us. And obviously, we're going to be talking about something that's extremely important, which is mental health in our community, which is real. It's a real issue. So, yes, Shonda, I see your post, your comment. Voting matters. Yes, young people, voting does matter. So that's all I have for y'all this week. Like I said, the City Board of Aldermen, they are on a summertime break. So I won't be really reporting much on that end because they on a Brizakes, St. Louis County. We shall see what happens. And so stay tuned because I may or may not have a Monday Night Live next Monday. It just depends on whatever happens. So appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please stay hydrated out there because it's going to be hot as hell the rest of this week. Stay safe out there and see you soon. Peace.